Hey, what is up, fellow raiders? This is Vulcan Dan, and in today's Raid Shadow Legends video, we are going to talk about my top 20 epics for the arena. Now, this list is more for those free-to-play players or beginner players in Raid, those that do not have a lot of legendaries to play around with. But do not worry, because in Raid, we do have a lot of great epics that are very useful in the arena. Now, this list of mine is also not ranked best to worst or worst to best. I simply grouped the champions that play a similar role in the arena, and I will do my best to go through this really quickly. I don't really want to make a very long video, so this is a speedrun top 20 epic list. Alright, so of course no list for the arena for epics is complete without mentioning Madam Ceres. Of course, let's get to her. Madam Ceres, and as you can see, I don't have her yet. 2 years of playing Raid, no Madam Ceres. Let's hope we get her soon. And why is she so good? One skill right here, Midnight Ritual, is all you really need. Removes all debuffs from all enemies, places a decreased attack and decreased defense on them, and that is it. You just nuke them down after that skill and you just won the arena battle. Alright, number 2 is someone who does a similar role and is also in the same faction is Rhian the Conjurer. You can get him from Doom Tower secret rooms in the normal side of the Doom Tower. Because he does this in his A2, has a 100% chance when book of removing all buffs from all enemies. So that part is the same as Madam Ceres, but instead of a decreased attack and decreased defense, he places the weaken, which is not so bad either. Because of course, as you can see, I don't have Madam Ceres, but at least I can use Rhian as a backup. Alright, so those are your 2 champions that will remove the buffs from the enemy. And next one, we will go through the decreased defense champions. First one in my list is Deacon Armstrong. I think he's the best among the epics for decreased defense because one, he has this great aura for the arena, and he will go first with his A3, fill the turn meter of all allies by 15%, decrease the turn meter of all enemies by 15%, and then grants an extra turn because he will go into his A2, which is an AoE decrease defense. And that's it. Goodbye, enemy team. Next on my decreased defense list is Zargala. She hits really hard, and her decreased defense skill hits 3 times. So those annoying enemies such as Rotos. So don't need to worry about that, because if your Zargala hits decently hard, she might be the only one you really need, because she will hit that enemy 3 times, and that might be enough to beat that champion. Alright, next one for decreased defense, which is not as good as the other 2, but I think it's quite good as well, is we have Armena. She has an AoE decreased defense on her A2 plus steal 7.5% of the turn meter from targets under decreased defense. So those 3, I think, from the epics are my 3 best decreased defense champions. Now let's go to the champions that will prevent your enemies from doing their skills. First one is from the Skinwalker. We have Basher. So think of him as a mini warlord. He has this A2, attacks all enemies, increases the cooldown of all the target skills by 2 turns. So have fun watching your enemy do their A1s, because all of their skills are on cooldown. Alright, next one after Basher is from the Demon Spawn, Umbral Enchantress. You just really need her A3 skill. Attacks all enemies, has a 100% chance when booked of placing a provoke for 2 turns. Yes, that's a 2-turn provoke. In the arena, that is an eternity. So but by the time the provoke wears off, they're probably dead. And she also places an unkillable on herself for 2 turns. Next one is... where are you? There you go. Archmage. Now he has this single hitter, but he will also attack the other enemies if the first attack is critical. So of course you'll need to build him with 100% crit rate, and he will have a 50% chance booked to a this is a 75% chance of placing a stun for 1 turn, and he will decrease the turn meter by 20% if he fails to land a stun on the enemy. So regardless if the stun lands or not, he is an excellent champion to go second in your arena. Now, next one is I am going to talk about the speed boosters from the epics. I think the best speed booster is Seeker. Now, he is both an offensive speed booster, but he can also be a defensive champion because, of course, he has this huge turn meter boost by 30%, places an increased attack, and then grants an extra turn, and then he will do his A1. So you can provoke either their speed booster, their nuker, whoever one you want. But if the enemy goes first, his passive is useful because he will place an increased defense buff on everyone when he's hit with a critical hit. So yeah, so I think Seeker is the best speed booster for the epics. He just doesn't have the speed aura for Arena, but you can use another champion for that. Next, for the speed booster, also in the same faction, is Gorgorab. Now, he has dropped off quite a bit because, of course, we see a lot of legendary speed boosters like your Lysandra, but he's still great because while his turn meter boost is not as good as Seeker, he does have this AoE revive. So it's better for those defensive teams for that revive. Alright, now for my third and final speed booster, we are going with Haikatun. Now, you will not use her in endgame, but for the early game, especially as the free 30-day login reward, she is excellent for that early game arena when you're moving from bronze to silver to gold. She has this ally speed in all battles by 19% and plus this fill turn meter fill by 15% and increased speed. All right, so those are my 3 speed boosters from the epics. And then, of course, after your speed booster, you will of course want to take down the enemy as quickly as you can. And for the epics, no one does that better than Fraken the Fat because he has this ally attack, increased crit rate, and increased crit damage. Then all allies will attack the enemy champion except for Fraken. And of course, he is paired well. He pairs well with Skull Crown, of course, with her AoE A1 and AoE A2. Now, her A1 hits twice if the target has more than 50% HP. And of course, if you're using Fraken the Fat, you're using Skull Crown, of course, you will have to pair her with Sinetia because her A1 attacks all enemies and places an extra hit on enemies with less than 50% HP. So those two with Skull Crown and Sinetia, your enemy team is most likely dead. Alright, so after Skull Crown and Sinetia, my third nuker is from the Demon Spawn faction, Magnar. Now, he is an HP based nuker, which is of course different from your usual attack based, but he hits really hard with his A2, attacks all enemies and then places an extra hit on enemies without HP burn. He does not place HP burn by himself, so you don't need to worry about that. So he will attack the enemy twice, and that is usually enough to take them down. Now, next on my nuker list, my fourth nuker is Genbo. Now, this guy has a speed aura for the arena, has this nice passive that makes him immune to decreased attack. So if you're up against another Madame Ceres, you don't need to worry about the decreased attack, and he will place buffs on himself and then grant an extra turn and then immediately go into his A2 that will nuke down the enemy team. So that's number 4 on my nuker. My fifth and final nuker is, where is that one? Oh yeah, there you go, Dark Elhain, because of course when you face against a Tormin, you would want to use Dark Elhain, and you don't really need to make her fast. You can put attack percentage boots on her because speed doesn't really matter. You just want her to hit as hard as she can whenever you place a buff on yourself or you boost your turn meter. Tormin will place that freeze on your team, and Dark Elhain will immediately activate her A2 AoE because of her passive. Alright, so let's go to my defensive champion. First on my defensive arena champion is Volgoth. Because of this passive, he will heal all of the allies by 50% of the damage received whenever he is attacked. And of course, with all of those AoE in the arena, this one is a very helpful passive. And of course, if the fight drags on a little bit longer, he does have this AoE provoke on his A2. Next one on my defensive list is we have Bannerlords, Ursala the Mourner, probably the best reviver for the epics because of this one. Revives all dead allies with 75% HP, then fills their turn meter by 50%, plus increased defense, plus strengthen for 3 turns. Makes for a very, very good defensive team. And last, number 20, my final champion was also a defensive champion, Sandlashed. Okay, so because of his passive, places an ally protection buff on all allies for 2 turns when an ally's HP drops below 50% and places a block damage on himself. And don't forget that even though he's a defense-based champion, this AoE A2 also hits really, really hard. All right. That is it. That is my top 20. I hope I made this as short as possible. I talked really fast. I talked as fast as I could. I don't really want to make this video as long or a very long video. So I hope you found this useful. I hope you had fun. And thank you guys for watching. And I'll see you guys in my next video.